Those who are dating very attractive people, what is it like? People treat her very nicely and they also treat me nice, but only when I'm with her, lol. My wife is very pretty, and a few years younger than me. We were at a club pre-COVID and I whispered a bad joke in her ear. She rolled her eyes and walked away. Some other dudes saw it and thought I just got rejected, took pity on me and bought me some drinks while we talked about Radiohead and D&D. I've been standing at a bar talking to her and a random girl came up and did the body block / initiate conversation thing to save her from me. I remember my engagement photos. Big, juiced up photographer, you are the groom. Kinda fun. It's amazing. She's the best ever, but she goes to another school so I can't show you pics. I asked my wife and she still hasn't stopped laughing. Her friends trying to get her to come to her senses and dump me. 15 years and 2 kids later, none of those friends are left. Edit ha. I just realized how dark that sounds. Fuck it, I'm leaving the original here too. I mean, none of them remain as friends. Though a few have died in unfortunate car accidents. Years ago, I brought my girlfriend, now wife, to Texas to meet my mom for the first time. Everything went normally. The first time my mom and I were alone, she turned to me and said, "You must be really good in bed. The only rule is you can't get jealous. Not just on their behalf, but for your own sake. In general, being insecure is unattractive." I used to date someone way more attractive than me back in the day, and I could recognize the look from other guys sometimes saying something like, "What the fuck is she doing with him?" It can be tough because I see all the women staring at him all the time. He's in a profession where he deals with lots of women all day long, and I see the longing in their eyes because he is not only gorgeous, but brilliant and funny. He thinks I'm more attractive than him. I'm not. He's a PT edited BC. Everyone is curious, smiling face with hearts. My wife is quite attractive, and I think I look like a potato. I don't know, I just roll with it. I used to also be attractive. Now I'm not. It's hard. Women will openly stare mouth agape and approach him. He doesn't notice half the time. Seconds, asking my wife. Update, I have played the most dangerous game and lost, fellow Redditors. Learn from my downfall. I spend a lot of time wondering when he'll realize he's out of my league and leave me. I mean, it's nice when he meets friends of mine and they rave about him afterwards. Like, yes. I know he's a snack. He's also the sweetest man in the world. So he's the entire package, and I consider myself extremely blessed to be the one to see him naked. I once dated a guy out of my league, and the reality is that I was very insecure and felt uncomfortable when we went out to places where there were many pretty girls because I felt that I wasn't enough for him and that he'd look at another girl who was really pretty. In the end that did happen, but my insecurity didn't make me enjoy the relationship. Thank God I am working on that in therapy. My wife is way out of my league. When we started dating and going places, this is how interactions would go. Staff, hello there, what can I get for you? My wife, I'll have such and such. Staff, and for her friend. Me. Happened so many times, lol. It's great. We both think we are reaching and both think the other person is settling. It's nice though they suffer from self-esteem issues linked to the specific kind of compliments they've gotten in the past. We argue over who is more attractive, but I'm convinced it's him. My so gets called Thor/Chris Hemsworth by kids while walking down the street and in our friends' circles. The only weird encounter we had was at a bar. This intoxicated older woman was visibly incredulous that we were together and kept trying to hit on him. Not currently, but have in the past. I mean, it's cool. You gotta get used to a shitin of people glancing/staring at them anytime you go out. Also gotta get used to guys trying to hit on them the second you walk away. I never had an issue with either, so it worked for me. The underrated upside is that shit is self-perpetuating. You immediately become more desirable if you're with someone who, in this case, other girls realize is beautiful. They think I'm rich. My hubs could hands down get a way better looking girl than me, and as we age he keeps getting hotter and me, not so much. Sometimes I feel insecure that others wonder why he is with me, but then I feel complimented because it means I'm doing a lot of things right. I never feel jealous as in he would leave me, because I know he loves me, my mind, and our life together. I do however get jealous of how easy it is for him to be good looking. I have to spend hours getting ready to look okay to stand next to him, and he just rolls out and couldn't care less. He's the best. I'm super thankful. My significant other is way more attractive than me. Other girls fawn over him. It doesn't bother me, because I know where his heart lies. We were out on a date one night. Every time I walked away to go to the restroom or get a drink I would come back to some skinny little thought in my seat. He would be polite, but never flirtatious. Then calmly tell them to move so his girl could sit back down. On a different night I had a bartender tell me I didn't have a shot with the gray-eyed guy. I was already living with the gray-eyed guy. I dated a professional rugby player. He was good looking, a good person, treated me like a queen but was a bit dim. I thought it shouldn't matter if he wasn't smart because that's not a character flaw and he was a great guy, but I just found it hard to be attracted to someone who just agreed with everything I said and didn't have much to think about anything. I told my friend I was going to break up with him and she got really upset because he was hot and I should try more. I felt bad because he was a genuinely nice guy, but despite the hot body I just couldn't feel attracted. In my experience, I get told things like, "I never figured you could get a girl like that. You married up, man." When I was single, I would also occasionally hear my buddies say things like, "Man, I need to hang out with you more," after seeing some pictures of girls with whom I had been spending time. The insults never really bothered me, though. People are generally stupid and the whole league thing is ultimately nonsense. I know I'm not ugly by any means. If anything, I am considered by those around me to be quite attractive myself, but every time I stand next to him I feel ugly. But I am not unhappy because he only has eyes for me and always makes sure I know how highly he thinks of me. I've only dated 2 women who most men would consider 10/10. This happened before I got married, before everyone who is young started calling me sir to get my attention. Both girls acted like they knew the whole room was staring at them. One of them in particular changed her whole vibe whenever we would go somewhere and go inside, like she would act like the cameras were rolling, and oftentimes, I could tell she wasn't even listening to what I had said, like she was trying to capture how many people were looking at her without being obvious, and pretending to be looking at me, except she was looking through me. At first, it took quite a long time to gain her full trust. More than once she have been being lied to or manipulated to try to get in her pants. And it was also hard for me sometimes. She is getting hit on regularly even if I'm there. I fully trust her, but on some days when I don't feel good due to work stress or fatigue, or when our relationship is a bit down, like everything it has its up and downs, it adds a bit of stress. I have to relax and say to myself deep down that she loves me. As far as sex, yeah, she is really cute and sexy, but sex is more than that. When you love someone, does not change anything for me. At least people know I'm the personality hire. I get side eye from a lot of women. He's gorgeous. Strong jaw, full lips, deep brooding eyes, 6 feet 1 inch, well built, and dresses well. At times it can make me a bit anxious and nervous as I don't want to be stared at. He has people give him things and he thinks it's because they are nice or women suddenly need a man's help. I was in a long-term relationship with a woman who looked like a supermodel. 6 foot tall, skinny, heart-shaped face, etc. She was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Not exaggerating in the slightest. I was in shock the first time we made out. I just stared at her for hours and kissed her like I was in a daze. I soon figure out that when you're with a woman like this, literally every dude will hit on her constantly. When she was 9 months pregnant, dudes were slipping her phone numbers. It was so insane. She definitely had a personality flaw. She thought she was better than everybody else, but was really good at being pretend nice to people. To make a long story short, she completely destroyed me. Cheated on me 3 weeks before the wedding and was appalled that I called it off. In her words, "No one breaks up with me, I break up with them." She to this day thinks that I was the shitty person for calling it off. Fuck, she was so impossible. We're a queer couple, which I think contributes to people assuming we cannot be together. I must be her weird friend she's dragged out with her. And even when girls know I'm her partner, they'll hit on her, in front of me, side-eyeing me like I'm a symbol of her low self-esteem. We get offered a lot of three-ways and group sex where the subtext is obviously I want to sleep with her, and you can also be there. Fortunately she is obsessed with me, which makes it easy not to get jealous. We're best friends. I'm obsessed with her, and while her looks are a big perk, the real reason is we just get each other. We'll go to parties and spend the whole time giggling with each other in a corner. My father used to say he married the most beautiful woman in the world, and I didn't understand. Mom didn't look like the women hanging on my wall as a teen. Then I met the most beautiful woman in the world and finally understood. I am 6/10 on my best day, and my wife wakes up at 8/10 and goes up from there. And that's at age 40. Especially when we first started dating, when she was the cute college girl, she couldn't get under 9/10 even if she tried. And here she was schlepping around with me. It feels fucking weird, dude. But she has reassured me enough, and I've seen her politely turn away a half dozen guys over the years, so I accept it these days. It was a hazard for a while sending her to pick up our pre-orders from GameStop because she'd get to talking with the guy behind the counter about her favorite games, then end up with him knocking on the car window to ask her out. She let him down easy, and I don't get upset. I get it. I just have to accept it as one of those things I can recognize as true without really understanding. It's like gravity, I guess. I feel incredibly lucky, especially since his personality is also amazing. I also wonder how everyone else he's been with were dumb enough to let him go. I used to date someone more attractive than me. I still do, but I used to too. I don't consider myself ugly. When I met my wife, I'd consider both of us to be at the same level, looks-wise. Maybe she was a bit more attractive than me, but as the years have gone by, she's aged way better than me. When I meet new people, they're always surprised she's my wife, and I get the feeling they think she could do better. She gets a lot of looks when we go out and compliments from our friend group. I don't as much, lol. However, this does not bother me in the slightest. Long-term relationships are like a roller coaster, and looks are the same. I'll be up at some point and she'll be down. It's just how it works. Also, other than looks, people don't know what else we bring to the table. As you get older, looks aren't as important as they once were. Everyone wants to be her friend, random people always talking to her, constantly dudes trying to buy her drinks if we go into together. I don't mind, my wife is hot. My favorite memory was being at a bar with my partner, but also with some friends. So we're all just hanging out. Not clear with who is with who. This bloke sees my partner and is legit stunned by her. She isn't aware, but as he's watching, she comes up to me and gives me a kiss/cuddle. He was half impressed, half bummed, gave me an approving nod and moved on. It's nice when they're respectful that way.